Good morning and welcome to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's only local morning show, giving you exclusive access into people, businesses, and events in our community. We're bringing you this show live, daily, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. with your host, me, Maddie Muschin. Before we dive into today's show, every week we highlight someone here on the Splash Live, an educator, student, business, or organization from our Greater West Bloomfield community, going above and beyond. If you would like to submit an entry for someone, you can scan the QR code on the screen and fill out the Google form with the person's name, their contact information, and some reasons why you think they should be recognized here on the Splash Live for our Person of the Week. Now let's go check out what's going on in our Greater West Bloomfield community. The first event we want to look at are the West Bloomfield Township Public Library virtual events. The West Bloomfield Township Public Library are hosting a ton of fun and educational events for residents in West Bloomfield of all age groups. Today, they have their 11 a.m. virtual preschool Smart Money class, where your child will learn about the importance of money management through hands-on interactive stories and song. Your child will learn about the use of saving money through this virtual program recommended for ages 3 to 5 years. Tomorrow, they are having their adult program, where they will be discussing Great Michigan Reads at this event at 7 p.m. They'll be joined by Finlandia professor Hilary Joy Vertrine and discuss life in the copper country and how the copper strike of 1913 impacted the lives of residents during World War I. For these events and all other virtual events at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, you can register on their website at wblib.org. Something else that is ongoing at the library is your ability to rent out those great literacy and tender topic kits to help your child with their literacy skills and learn about tough topics that are happening in our community. If you are interested in renting out one of these kits, you can do so by stopping into the library or calling the Youth Services desk to reserve a kit of your choice. Our last event we want to look at is the Sylvan Lake History Talk. You can join Sylvan Lake historian Helen Jane Peters on Thursday, April 29th at 6:30 p.m. at the Sylvan Lake Community Center to learn more about the history of the Sylvan Lake community. All Sylvan Lake residents are welcome, and there will be snacks and beverages provided to learn more about the pretty little city in Michigan. Helen Jane Peters will walk the group through the history of how Sylvan Lake started, where the land was bought from, and so much more to make sure that you bring questions for her to answer at the end of the presentation. Our last event we want to look at is the Sylvan Lake Swap and Sale. If you're looking to either sell or donate your outgrown or unwanted outdoor items, Sylvan Lake is hosting their annual summer sale and swap on May 1st from 11 to 4 p.m. Here you can bring your items such as kayaks, beach games, lake gear, and other summer-related objects to either donate, sell, or swap with a neighbor. Check-in for these items start at 8 a.m. and will go to 10 a.m., and the actual sale and swapping of items will begin at 11 a.m. If you have any questions, you can contact Misty Markham at 248-480-6080. If you have an event you would like us to feature here on the Splash Live, you can send us a message on our social media pages at Civic Center TV and on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15. Coming up, we'll be checking out our interview with Rochelle Riley, the Director of Arts and Culture for the City of Detroit. But before that, I got to experience what it's like to be a kid again, but in an environment that promotes movement and learning. Swag Kids Gym, located in West Bloomfield, is providing classes for children as young as 10 months that mix in fun gymnastics and activities with lessons on confidence and sharing. I got to talk with Rolf Tompkins, the owner of Swag Kids Gym, about the class and how it helps kids. Let's go check it out. Kids need exercise, and a business in Greater West Bloomfield is making that happen in a fun and educational way. Swag Kids Gym combines exercise with learning that promotes socialization in children. Rolf Tompkins, owner of Swag Kids Gym, talks a little bit about the classes that they have and how they impact the kids that come into the gym.
The ages 2 to 4 class where parents get an opportunity to be up close and personal with their kids while they're getting instructed. So there's a lot of different elements that happen in that class. We do circle time, so they introduce their name and get acclimated with being social. Obstacle course time to give them the opportunity to build their gross and fine motor skills. Air track time to be able to enjoy the music while jumping around and having fun. Ball time to increase hand-eye coordination. And then bubble time to wrap it up in a fun class. It's a great 35-minute class where kids feel extremely comfortable and structured, yet it has a lot of free play elements where kids are able to be super comfortable with whatever they want to do inside the gym. Super great. That's the great part about being able to do classes like this at the gym, is that it allows parents and kids to be able to meet and have opportunities to socialize. Super important now because in the pandemic, they didn't have that opportunity to really socialize. So it's super fun letting them have the opportunity to get to know each other, learn their names, and then do activities together. They make friends, there's parallel play, and most importantly, they feel extremely comfortable inside of our gym. So it's a win-win situation every time we have classes from ages 10 months all the way up to 12-year-olds here at the gym.
Ralph also talks about the life skills that they promote at the gym, such as confidence and sharing, and how that helps the kids find their voices as they grow up.
Yeah, so like you said, physical is just, it's a portion of what we do, but it's not everything what we do and what we teach. We want these kids to build social skills, learn to share, learn to take turns, learn to socialize, learn to encourage their friends and not laugh at them. And then we also give our kids a voice once they turn 4. We want them to introduce themselves. We want them to say their name, say their favorite colors, favorite hobbies, so kids get to know other kids. And then also we take a lot of time, even while they're taking a break during exercises, to get to know them as people, because kids are extremely important. They have a voice, they have things going on. They go through stuff too. So our staff and our gym is really centered around them building comfort physically, socially, mentally, and emotionally. Then that's what makes swag super unique. It's more than just about them growing physical skills. We want to make sure that they're the best version of themselves in all aspects, and that includes building confidence. And there's nothing better than for them to feel that they have a voice, feel like they're heard, feel like they belong, and feel like they're really loved inside of our gym. So,
for more information, you can head over to their website at swagkidsgym.com. Reporting for the Splash Live, I'm Maddie Muschin.
If you're interested in becoming a member at Swag Kids Gym or want more information on the great classes that they have to offer, head over to their website at swagkidsgym.com for all the information that you need. Later on, we'll be taking a look at our four community leaders had to say about housing and development projects happening this year. Before that, we're going to be checking out our interview that we had with Rochelle Riley, the Director of Arts and Culture for the City of Detroit. She will also be a speaker at the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield Speaker Breakfast happening this week. So let's go check out what she had to say about that. Joining us now to talk about the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield Speaker Series Breakfast is the speaker for this month's breakfast, Rochelle Riley, Director of Arts and Culture for the City of Detroit. Rochelle, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
So Rochelle, can you start off by telling us a little bit about your background and what it means to be the Director of Arts and Culture for the City of Detroit?
Oh my goodness. I spent many years as a journalist, the last 19 of my career as a nationally syndicated columnist for the Detroit Free Press. And when I decided to leave the newsroom, not retire, because I'm too young to retire, but to see what my pivot would be, I talked with the mayor of Detroit, who I'd known for almost 2 decades, and said, I'm leaving the newsroom. I want to find a theater and literally create, a theater. I'll take get a theater management master's at Wayne State, and I'll do that. All he heard was the word theater. And we started talking from that point on about the need for the city to be more engaged in helping its creative workforce. So that is the job. I oversee the city's investment in the arts. I nurture artists. I am their ace downtown.
And Rochelle, you will be speaking at the upcoming Rotary Club of West Bloomfield Speaker Series Breakfast coming up this month. Can you tell us a little bit about what you will be speaking about there?
Well, it only has to do with art peripherally because it mostly comes from my work as an author, because in addition to my day job, which is kind of my side hustle, as a friend once told me, make sure that your main job is what you love to do. And for me, I've been a writer by trade, warrior by necessity for a long time. I wrote a book called The Burden, African Americans and the Enduring Impact of Slavery. And I have spoken out around the country about how we're never going to fix the racial divide that we have until we actually admit that it has been a part of the DNA of our country for some time. So this is actually a conversation I was invited to have about race. What are you afraid of? Why do we not want to talk about it? Why do we not want to deal with it so that we can improve so much of the relationships that exist between the races and all cultures in America?
And Rochelle, could you talk a little bit about the topic of racism in America and how you are going to be bringing that to the speaker series breakfast that we are having for the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, and talk about a little bit of the themes that you'll be talking about, as well as some of the impact that you hope to make at the breakfast?
Well, the main thing that we hope to cover, the main thing that we hope to do is have a conversation, because, you know, people have been talking at each other literally for over a century about these issues that arise from the fact that our country was founded on racism. It was founded on slavery. It was founded on free labor that built the country. And so nobody wants to talk about that. There are efforts to hide the history of that. And that's why we never have really open, honest discussions. So what we're going to do is talk about what racism looks like. For anybody who is not Black or Hispanic or a person of color who says, oh, well, racism isn't a problem anymore. Well, it's not a racist problem for them. But if you can't even see it, then you don't understand why George Floyd was killed. You don't understand why people who are of color still have trouble getting loans from banks. You don't understand how hard it is for people to become successful in some of the careers that they have. And the main thing we want to do is just talk about that understanding and push the envelope a little bit on that understanding.
And Rochelle, what does it mean to be able to be speaking at the Rotary Club breakfast and be asked to present on your great book and the experience that you have with art and racism in the city of Detroit?
Well, I have been a fan of Rotary for decades. As a matter of fact, I've spoken to so many different Rotary clubs. I should put them on a map. I have a map in my home of all the different places I've visited in America and around the country. There are 28 countries, 33 states. I should put Rotaries too, because when I'm called on for the Rotary or any library, because this is also the Ann Arbor District Library that's co-sponsoring this, I'm a library person. I was a library page when I was in high school. That was my first job. And I think that the way we get to understand each other is to understand our cultures and to have those conversations. So it means the world to me, first of all, that people want to have them. To be invited by the Rotary is such an honor. And it means that people care. It means that we have folks literally on both sides of this racial divide in our country who want to talk about it and who want things to be better.
And Rochelle, could you give us some information for our viewers that are interested in purchasing and reading your book, how they can go about doing that and getting a little bit more information on the talk that you'll be doing at the Speaker Series Breakfast for the Rotary?
Thank you so much. The conversation is a breakfast conversation, which means it's going to start early. I think it's 7 or 7:30. And if they go to the district library site or the West Bloomfield Rotary, they can get details of that. If they want to know anything about me or my books, they can go to RochelleRiley.com. I encourage people to follow me on Twitter. My Twitter feed sometimes has smoke rising from it, but you'll have a lot of fun. But April 28th, it's a breakfast. It's going to be enlightening. It's going to be powerful. And I'm thrilled to talk with people instead of talk at people about something that we can fix.
And Rochelle, as we wrap up here, is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers here, either about the work that you're doing for the city of Detroit or anything else that you wanted to share at this time?
Well, the city of Detroit did not have an Office of Arts and Culture for almost 20 years when the mayor gave me this job. So one of the things that I'm doing is making sure that that's never true again. So we're looking for ways to make sure that we sustain it and turn it into something permanent, so it can be a permanent supporter and lobbyist for artists, that it can be a way to develop neighborhood transformation through the arts. And I want everybody to be proud of what Detroit is. We're known globally for our creative arts. I mean, literally everywhere around the world. But I don't think we really believe it. We're not really embracing who we are. And I want to build that pride, because even though the city government, bakes the bread and created this office, it takes everybody to keep it buttered. So I want people to really just support and love on our creative arts community, because it really is nationally renowned.
Well, Rochelle, it was such a pleasure talking to you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us all that great information on the things that you are doing in the city of Detroit, as well as the Rotary Club Speaker Series breakfast that you will be participating in.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was great to talk to you. Good interview.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Rochelle Riley for joining us on the Splash Live to talk about the great conversation and presentation that she'll be having at the Rotary Club Breakfast Series that's happening this Thursday. For the past 4 years, we have been bringing together the 4 leaders in Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, Keiko Harbor, and West Bloomfield to discuss some of the topics that are impacting our community. For the 4th annual State of the Community's Address, I talked to the leaders about the upcoming housing and development projects that are happening this year. Let's go check out what they had to say. This year, for the 4th annual State of the Community's Address, I talked to the 4 leaders in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Keiko Harbor, and West Bloomfield about topics that are impacting our greater West Bloomfield community. Let's go see what they had to say about housing and development in our area.
And after that, we went ahead and engaged them to develop a plan for our Cass Lake Road corridor. Our planning commissions worked very hard over the last couple of decades trying to make changes, but nothing seemed to gain traction. So we turned to the Gibbs Group, and our TIFA paid for that, and they came back with some very great plans, which we knew that the only way that you can make something like that come to fruition is to get a buy-in from the community.
We are nearing the completion of our master plan, as you mentioned. It's a revision. I encourage all residents to get involved. We need feedback, and we need, if you're a potential business, to keep an eye on the progress that we have going on. The updates are linked in our city website, sylvanlake.org. The best time to get involved is before the plan is complete. Last year, we welcomed the Sylvan Table to Sylvan Lake. They are a farm-to-table restaurant with 3 large greenhouses supplying fresh vegetables and their ever-rotating menu. The progressive approach to dining has been incredibly successful.
As everybody knows, West Bloomfield is a bedroom neighborhood community. We don't have any industry. Our businesses are mainly restaurants and office buildings and plazas. We've had numerous subdivisions constructed in the last 2 years or are under construction, and we conducted a housing study 1.5 years ago, and that housing study told us that we were saturated with senior citizen facilities. I should talk as I'm reaching that age, and we need more density, we need more apartments, we need more clustered homes, and we followed that. Now, we have one of the best planning directors in the state. Her name is Amy Neary, and I know you've interviewed her. So she deserves a lion's share of the credit here.
We have not started construction yet, but we're in the process of finalizing all the architectural plans. Our citizens overwhelmingly approved a bond issue last November to pay for these improvements. It's been a long time, since about 1985, since we built anything on the campus, and really the police facilities were very obsolete and did not meet the current safety needs. And our DPW facility was not able to handle the kind of maintenance that we need to do. So that's all being redone, and we're hoping to get started very soon. It's going to take about 1 year, we hope.
For more information on other topics that are impacting our community, you can watch the entire 4th annual State of the Community's Address on our website at civiccentertv.com or on our on-demand YouTube page. Reporting for the Splash Live, I'm Maddie Muschin. To watch the entire 4th annual State of the Community's Address and to hear more about the COVID-19 pandemic, infrastructure, and more topics, you can head over to civiccentertv.com or our Civic Center TV YouTube page to stay up to date. We're going to take a short break here on the Splash Live, but when we get back, I'll be talking with Gail Taub, personal trainer, nutrition coach, and owner of Gazelle Health. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Gail after this break.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
11 teens a day die from texting and driving. Don't text and drive.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I'm your host, Maddie Muschin. Joining us now to talk about making sure that your form is correct for certain exercises and at-home workouts is Gail Taub, personal trainer, nutrition coach, and owner of Gazelle Health. Gail, thanks so much for joining me again this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Gail, when it comes to working out, having the correct form is one of the most important things to make sure that you aren't getting injured and that you are making the most out of your workouts. How can people know the proper form for some of the exercises that are doing either in home or at the gym?
Okay, so there's a couple of things that you can kind of pay attention to. If you're working by yourself, pay attention to how a particular move feels for you. Not by watching other people, but actually doing it yourself. And be able to learn what it feels like to have something painful versus something challenging. That's probably the biggest differentiator that people have a hard time with is if something feels difficult, there's some fear there. There's some worry, especially if you've never been in a gym or you're not confident with the moves, if you're doing it right, if you're hurting yourself. And so there's a hesitation. So notice how you feel. If something is painful, then immediately stop. Don't go forward. You know yourself best. If you're unsure, better to err on the side of caution and stop. And at that point, maybe ask some questions or adjust in a way that makes sense for you. But if it's challenging, if there's not pain, but instead there's a challenge or a discomfort because it's difficult, then maybe push yourself maybe one or two more and see if you can get over that fear and barrier. That's probably the biggest idea is, this idea between pain and discomfort. It should be uncomfortable to some degree. It should never hurt, though, so you should always stop.
And Gail, for those people that are working out at home or maybe are new to the gym or new to working out, do you have any advice for them to make sure that they are finding those movements that are challenging instead of painful?
Yeah. So start simple. That's number one, especially if you don't have a lot of experience or confidence. Start with very simple moves, very light weights, or perhaps not even any weight at all. Go through the motions and feel your body. When you're looking and you're looking for guidance on proper form, and you decide to look on the internet, also beware that we already know that a lot of what we see on the internet is not exactly what's good for us, perhaps. Sometimes it's not real, sometimes it's just not appropriate for us. So if you decide to look online and get some guidance from somebody who looks as if they know what they're doing, combine this idea of following their direction with how you actually feel. Again, and then decide, does it hurt or does it feel challenging, and go from there. That is one good way. Now, if you are someone who would prefer to find a professional to help you and know for certain that you're doing something in the best way, remember that guideline that I gave you about finding someone. That person should be credentialed. You should ask them or look up and verify that they are certified as a fitness trainer or in the area that you're looking for. And number two, when you talk to them for the first time, make sure they're asking you questions, asking you about yourself and about how you're feeling, your experiences, watching you move, and then being able to adjust. So you'll get a good sense for that professional, if they're someone that can serve you well, that they're really focused on you and not kind of just showing you what a lunge or a squat or a jumping jack looks like, but really watching you do it and adjusting appropriately.
And Gail, if someone is working out on their own without the help of a professional or an expert, do you have a tip or trick onto how to figure out what exercise is going to be the most effective or is going to work the best for somebody, whether that's going online to certain resources or, asking friends, family, or someone at the gym.
Yeah. So if you're in this for a total body workout, my suggestion would be to start small. Some basic moves like a squat or a lunge, if you feel that you're doing it properly and there's no pain involved, then start with one exercise for your lower body, your legs, your butt. One exercise for your upper body, whether it's your shoulders, your arms, your biceps, something like that. And then one exercise for your core, whether those are crunches or perhaps bicycles, something on the floor that you're comfortable with. And then finally, you should always try and get that heart rate up a little bit. But start small. You should feel like you've done something. You should feel like your heart rate has come up during your exercising. Maybe start with 5 of each of these moves and try to do them slowly and carefully, one at a time. And then maybe try to do 1 set of each of those 5 times. And maybe you feel like you can do 2 sets, taking a break in between, maybe a minute or so, and then doing it again. A few days a week is a good place to start. If you feel like you're more advanced than that, can kind of bounce from where you are, but give yourself an organized and manageable way to get started.
And Gail, as we wrap up here, will you just real quick give us your information if people would like to have someone, a personal trainer and an expert to help them out with that form and their at-home workouts?
Absolutely. So my name is Gail Taub. You can reach me at coachgail.com. My name is spelled Gayle. So that's coachgail.com. You can message me through that website and take a look at some of the content and the photographs and the information there. That you can also get me on my phone number. You can text or call me at 248-885-1400. Just leave me a message. I'll give you a call back and we can set up a time to chat.
Well, Gail, it's always a pleasure talking to you here on the Splash Live. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us a little bit about some of the correct form and those at-home workouts that people in our community can do.
Awesome. Thanks, Maddie. Have a great day.
Thanks, Gail. You too. Once again, I was joined by Gail Taub, personal trainer, nutrition coach, and owner of Gazelle Health here in the greater West Bloomfield community, here to help you with all of your fitness and nutrition needs, especially too if you are looking for someone to help you out with those at-home workouts and making sure that your form is correct to reduce injury in the gym. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you again to Gail Taub for joining us this morning on the Splash Live to give us that great information. A special thanks to our Zoom producer, Jared Clark, for coordinating the Zoom and making sure our guests joined us. As always, a huge thank you to Calvin Brown, our board operator and director, for making this show possible each and every morning. And thank you for joining me as we explored all of the people and events in our greater West Bloomfield community. As always, you can make sure to tune in live on Civic Center TV, on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99, Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. to catch up on what's going on in our greater West Bloomfield community. You can also watch our show every morning on My Michigan TV. It's a new streaming service that covers all of the great people and events happening around Michigan. You can either head over to mymytv.com or download the My Michigan TV app on your smartphone and smart TV. For all of our friends in Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, Keego Harbor, and West Bloomfield, I'm Maddie Mushton. Thank you for watching The Splash Live.